Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the oh-so-stately Vaughn Manor, where we're getting ready for summer here at Vaughn Manor. You know, summer is upon us, and oh, the fun we have planned for the summer this year at Stately Vaughn Manor, because we got a lot of booktube stuff going on this summer. So much stuff going on with booktube this year during the summer that I thought I would devote an entire video to all the excitement, you know, just to keep track of all this stuff. So, Roger, are you ready? Look how thrilled Roger is. He loves this time of year, you know, summertime. He likes to go to the beach, you know, go surfing, do all that fun stuff. But me, I just like to read books, so that's what I'll be doing this year, this summer. So, what's going on this summer anyway? So, we have lots of booktube events. I have a special project. Actually, I have a few special projects. You know how it is. You know how it is on my dumb channel. Special projects going on here. 500 book challenge rolling right along, as it always does. And always will, it seems like. So let's get started. What's going on this summer? Okay, June on the Range is what's going on in June. So June on the Range. Now that is a booktube event that I created, believe it or not. And even more shocking, it's a booktube event that doesn't suck. You'd think if I invented a booktube thing, it would just suck. But no, it's awesome and everybody loves it. It's June on the Range, a month devoted to reading Western fiction. I did a whole video about it, or two. Well, only one so far, but yes, so June on the Range is the first thing that's coming up. And the first thing I'm going to read for June on the Range is Roger's pick for June for Roger's Cheap Old Book Club, because Roger's Cheap Old Book Club is going to be happening this summer too. You should jump on board Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. Every book in Roger's Cheap Old Book Club can be gotten for free at Project Gutenberg, all public domain stuff. And we're talking about them on my dopey Discord. I'll leave a link to that below if I remember. But yeah, this is for June. This is the June pick for Roger's Cheap Old Book Club, and the first book I'll be reading for June on the Range. Now, the rules for June on the Range are very simple. You just read Westerns. If you want the whole June on the Range experience, this is it. You read one book by Zane Grey. You read one book by Louis L'Amour. Those are the two greatest Western writers of all time, or at least the most popular. And then you read two books that are not Zane Grey or Louis L'Amour. Most Westerns are pretty short, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Although, if you're reading some giant thing like Lonesome Dove, well then read Lonesome Dove, because Lonesome Dove is like the best Western ever. I read that last year and it was amazing. So yeah, June on the Range is the first official exciting thing. And you know, I don't know exactly what I'll be reading other than this. I've got a bunch of Westerns lying around, like, you know, I've got Amos Flagg Lawman just sitting right over there. So, you know, I got a ton of Westerns, and I will be doing another video when we're closer to June to talk more about it, but I have no... I know I'm reading this, I know I'm reading that for June. So after June, we have another exciting booktube event in July, which is Booktube at War. Booktube at War. An event which is dedicated to reading not just fiction about war. Originally, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was just going to be fiction about war. But it's actually going to be nonfiction and fiction. Books about war, basically. And so, going into that event, I'm not exactly sure what I'll be reading other than one thing. I know I'll be reading this. This is The Killer Angels by Michael Shara, a Civil War novel, American Civil War novel, that I've never read, despite having this paperback literally forever. And again, this is one of those books that I should have read by now, but I haven't. But I have it. I've got The Killer Angels right here by Michael Shara. And so definitely going to read this. This is probably the first book I'm going to read for Booktube at War. After that, though, I don't know. It kind of depends on how much time I've got that month. Because also going on in June for me at this channel, for Roger's Cheap Old Book Club, the June pick is this, The Last Man by Mary Shelley. This is one of the longer books for Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. This is, yeah, it's about 500 pages, I think. Well, in this edition, it's not. In this edition, it's like 370 something or something like that. But it's a long book. This is my guess, this is probably going to be the most DNF'd Roger's Cheap Old Book Club pick. I suspect that, but we'll see. But this is also going to happen in July. It does have war in it. War happens in this, from what I hear, and I hear it plays an important part in the story. I'm not sure it's enough to count it as a BookTube at War book, but we'll see. We'll see once I've read it. But definitely have to read this for Roger's Cheap Old Book Club in July. Otherwise, July is pretty open, like I say, for me. But then, the biggest BookTube event of all happens in August. The greatest BookTube event which has ever been created. And this is created, of course, by CriminOlly, because, you know, he creates the best stuff. CriminOlly does, and that is Garb August. That's right, Roger. Garb August is returning. It was a big deal last year, Garb August. And that is a BookTube event devoted to reading trash. And boy, do I have a lot of trash sitting around the manor. Now, these are books that are considered by society to be trash. We always, you know, somebody will be yelling at us again this year saying, oh, it's wrong of you to call these books garbage or trash just because they're not. No, we're not calling them that. Basically, society has labeled this kind of book trash. We've got Men's Adventure, more Men's Adventure. We've got, how did I not read Operation Super Miss by Andrew Offutt last year? How did I not read? I know, you're looking at this thinking, that looks pretty classy. I know, this is not a Penguin classic, actually. You'd think of this would be, but no, it's not. This is actually up for Garb August this year. I don't know exactly. I mean, I've got so much Garb August-y books, I don't even know where to start for Garb August. We'll see. I've got a lot of trashy stuff, but I've also got Roger's pick for Roger's Cheap Old Book Club, which is going to be Gladiator by Philip Wiley. Gladiator, a book about a man with superpowers from 1930, I think was when this came out. This was definitely influential on the creation of Superman, my favorite superhero, the greatest superhero, Superman. So, The Gladiator by Philip Wiley, or just Gladiator. I've seen it published both ways. But this is my copy of Gladiator by Philip Wiley. And so this should be an interesting pick for Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. Again, you can get it for free on Project Gutenberg. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. So I've got all that going on. Can I possibly have more stuff going on than that, Roger? You bet I could. You bet I could. Because Book Trek is returning. Book Trek 2023. So this will be the third year, I think, for Book Trek, created by Revenant Reads. And it's going on like all summer, Book Trek. So every month this summer, I'll just read a Star Trek book. And I've got a few. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. And I've got Star Trek books just lying around. I don't know. I'm all class like that. So anyway, this is an interesting one. You wouldn't guess by looking at this cover that it's Star Trek unless you saw this at the top. But this is World Without End by Joe Haldeman. So Joe Haldeman wrote a Star Trek book. Of course I want to read it. Of course I want to read it. So this is definitely something I'm going to read for Book Trek this year. Book Trek fits right in for Garb August, by the way. I might read one or two in Garb August. Because I've got a few. I've got like these just random Star Trek novels. Like this is Web of the Romulans. This is an early Star Trek novel from around the motion picture era. And then I've got this Alan Dean Foster collection of Star Trek books, where Alan Dean Foster, the king of movie novelizations, also novelized the Star Trek cartoon and made books out of them. And they're supposed to be really good, so I might read that. So I've got that going on. I can't possibly have anything more. Oh, yes, I do, because Also this summer is when I'm going to start my pulp adventure series. The Shadow and Doc Savage definitely are going to star in that series, as well as the Spider and some other characters and some other stuff. Pulp adventure, man. Pulp adventure. Also, the Robert E. Howard Show. It's about time for the Robert E. Howard Show to return. That's been on hiatus for a while. That's lame. The Robert E. Howard Show has to come back. One writer who is going to be on vacation for the entire period of the summer here at Stately Vaughan Manor is Stephen King. Mostly, I'm reading every book by Stephen King, but mostly Stephen King's going to be absent for the next few months because the next Stephen King book I have to read is this big-ass book, The Talisman, by Stephen King and Peter Straub. This thing is very large. It's 768 pages long. And I just don't know when I would fit it in this summer with all the other stuff going on. So Stephen King is going to have to wait until after the summer is over. Sorry, Stephen King. But I will get back to Stephen King. Going to read every book. It'll just take my entire life. Because he keeps writing them. He just keeps writing them, damn it. Also, vintage science fiction. Vintage science fiction is going to be showing up at some point this summer. Because I have to read every book, every vintage science fiction book I have before I die. That's one of my projects. I'm just going to have to live forever. And of course, Edgar Rice Burroughs, the Edgar Rice Burroughs deep dive is going to continue. Edgar Rice Burroughs, going to keep reading Edgar Rice Burroughs through the summer. Edgar Rice Burroughs is the perfect writer to read during the summer. But wait, can there possibly be something more, Roger? Yes, there's one more thing, and it's very important. It's a new video project that I'll be starting up this summer and continuing into the future for however long it takes. This video project, I got the idea for this. Actually, I stole the idea from this from another booktuber who is no longer making videos, unfortunately. But the video project I have in mind is about classic horror. It's about classic horror. And it's going to be essential classic horror. The essential classic horror series is what I'm going to be doing. This is based on a video series that Troy Tradup, the great author Troy Tradup, who wrote The Forsaken Boy, the greatest werewolf, one of the greatest werewolf novels of all time. If not the great, it could be the greatest werewolf novel of all time. It's damn good, The Forsaken Boy. You should read that book. Anyway, Troy Tradup was doing a series of videos about the essential modern horror books. And I think it was like 36 or something. But anyway, he's not doing that anymore because he decided he wanted to not make booktube videos anymore because he wants to torture us. No, he just got some stupid job that makes him work all the time. And now Troy can't spend his time doing what's most important, which is talking on booktube. He has to like work or something. I don't know. I mean, I have to work too, but you know, if I had to choose between the two, I mean, priorities, right? But anyway, he's not doing that series anymore, which is unfortunate because he gave out the list of that series, of the videos he was going to do. And I have opinions about his series and the videos he was going to do and the choices he made. Most of them are spot on. A couple of them are like... But, you know, now he's not making those videos, so damn it. But it did give me the idea to do an essential horror series for classic horror. You know, all of this stuff. Classic horror. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a series on classic horror. I'm not sure how many because I haven't completed the list yet. It is going to be 30-something books, though. And classic horror, which for me, because it was for Troy, is going to go up into the 1940s. So it's going to go through the 1930s. After that, it would be modern horror. And I'm going to talk about books that I think are essential, but not just that, but the editions of those books, which I think are the best editions to get. There are some writers who wrote mostly short fiction. And there are multiple editions of their work out there. And if you just are interested in this writer and you want the best stuff that you can get in one volume, what are you going to get? This series will help answer that, I hope. So, the essential works of classic horror. This summer, it's starting, man. Oh, there's so much exciting stuff going on, you know. There's probably even more stuff than that, but I can't think of it right now. And, you know, it's about that time, Roger. We have to go and play volleyball on the beach. Okay, guys, I will catch you next time.